can't come to the phone right now. I'm listening to Party Talk Podcast.
Welcome to the Party Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Cooper Keimig, back with Chris Keimig. Today's going to be the second episode of the MLB 2024 season. We're going to be ranking our top 10 center fielders. If you guys listened to last episode, the way we kind of ranked the top 10 left fielders last week is we did a kind of draft style. So one of us had the first pick. We took who we thought our favorite player was, and then we just kind of went down the list with the reverse order. So today, Chris has the first pick. We're going to be ranking center fielders this week. So Chris, why don't you start us off? Who you got first?
All right, it was a tough one for the first pick. I like your pick too, but I'm going to go with Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners. He's a bona fide star, first round overall pick, probably top 5. He finished second year as a 30-30, kind of quietly. He struggled the first half of the year, but he came on strong at the second half. I'm not sure what clicked for him, but he's just a stud. He can play defense, he can hit, he can run, he can throw. Also with that 30-30, he added 103 RBIs. So that team's up and coming. I can see him doing that again. I can see a possibly 40-40. And his age only 23 years old. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't think he's going to be as good as Acuna, but 40-40, I think definitely a possibility next year. So I'm happy with my first, but I'm pretty sure I think I know who you're going to take. And, I debated with him too, but who do you got number 2?
We can trade if you want. I personally like Julio better than this next player, but so the next best center fielder, like Chris said, you kind of argue with taking him number 1. I got Aaron Judge. He's overall just one of the best players in the league right now. And just 2 years ago, he put up one of the greatest hitting seasons in MLB history. Last year, he hit 37 home runs in 367 plate appearances. That is crazy. He's adding Juan Soto to the lineup, who is my AL MVP pick for this season. So should help add to his counting stats, his total numbers, and it'll honestly make Aaron Judge a lot harder to pitch around. He's top of the base on balls category every year. I think if Aaron Judge stays healthy this season, he's probably a top 3 player in the whole league. So I'll take him number 2 pretty easy. And number 3, he's kind of in the same boat as Judge. It's Mike Trout. He's been, one of the top center fielders in the last 10 years. The injuries are starting to catch up to Mike Trout, sadly. You can really pencil him in for at least one IL stint every year now. It's unfortunate. Almost every stat from last year, if you look at Trout, it was his worst season since his rookie, his 40 games in 2011. And then he had that amazing rookie year. I expect these numbers to get closer to his average, and he's going to go back to being one of the top players in the league as long as he stays healthy. So I'll take him number 3.
All right, for the fourth pick, I'm going with another up-and-coming star. So with Julio's 30-30, I'm coming up with Luis Roberts. He's only 26, finally stayed healthy last year. He struggled the year before. Finished with 38 homers and 20 stolen bases last year. That's not pretty good. So what do you think this stud's going to do this year? I'm thinking 40-30. If he can stay healthy, and that's a big if. Same thing with Trout. He did have it. I heard a podcast, I think it was CBS, that Chris said that he had a knee injury with like the last week of the year.
Yeah, nobody was.
So if he had that earlier in the year, how long do you think he'd been out? He's pretty injury prone. So if he lost a full month, we're probably not even picking him here in the fourth pick. I probably maybe 8th or something. But if he does stay healthy, I can see 40-30. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm still going to take him, but I'm going to take him with caution. But he's solid if he stays healthy. So a shaky fourth pick. All right.
Yeah. So I do love Luis Robert. I had him in one of my fantasy leagues last year, and I'm pretty obsessed when it comes to fantasy. If I'm not doing anything, I'm gonna watch almost every game available. If the game cuts into a break, I switch to the next game. I watched a lot of the White Sox. It's pretty sad. Luis Robert's very talented, but I've seen him swing at pitches like Javier Baez does. Like he just looks kind of lost out there sometimes. He strikes out a lot, but I love Luis Robert. I love his talent. And, if he stays healthy, he's going to put up, 30-30, maybe 40-30, like you're saying. So he got fifth, Chris.
Another injury plagued player. I mean, there's a lot of good players on this list, but there are a lot of injury issues. So I'm going to take Jazz Chisholm of the Marlins. He's entering his 26th season. That's called prime. Usually the 26, 7, 8 years, those are their prime years. He's only able to get 350 at bats last year. And he just missed the 2020 season with only 350 at bats. So he does lose second base eligibility. So that's kind of hurt him a little bit. But I can see another 30-30 player. I want this guy on my team. I think it was on the MLB The Show last year. Was he on the cover of that?
Yeah.
I think so. That was the jinx. So he's not on the cover. So I can see him doing 30-30. Matter of fact, in my 30-team league, I traded Sal Frelick and a draft pick to get this guy on my team. I just think there's so much potential in him if he stays healthy. So
yeah, I'm seeing a trend from our second pick all the way to our fifth pick. They're all injury prone, but if they pan out, they're gonna put up a high home run, high steal season. Aside from Mike Trout, he doesn't steal anymore, but if he did, he'd probably put up 50 in a season. But it's unfortunate, these top 5 center fielders have all the talent in the world, but they just need to stay healthy. So my sixth pick, he kind of breaks the mold from what we've been talking about from the second to the fifth. It's going to be Michael Harris. I think he's a great and up and coming player in the league. If we take a look at his 2023 stats, just looking at the numbers, not in depth, they are pretty solid. He had 148 hits. He had 20 stolen bases. He hit 293. His OPS was 808. Those are pretty good numbers for a season total. But he had a terrible first 3 months of the season. In March and April, he hit 200 with a 499 OPS. And in May, he hit 160. He hit 167 in May and an OPS of 534. A little bit of a sidebar. There's another Braves player who did the same thing, Marcelo Ozuna. They both started off terrible.
I know a guy that dropped Ozuna.
Yeah, me. I know. You don't need to remind me.
Thanks for the championship.
Yeah, it must have been after May when the Braves started to cheat. But anyways, we don't need to talk about that. So I'll compare his first half. You guys, I'll compare his first half and his second half numbers. So in the first half, he hit 255. His slugging percentage was 424. His OPS was 725. And then if we look at the second half numbers, he hit 325. His on-base percentage was 356. His slugging was 522, and his OPS was 879. His OPS went up over 150 points. His batting average went up over 70 points. So, if he would have been on same trajectory like the whole season, he could be even higher on this list. I'd probably take him top 4 if he didn't start off so slow. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this, and I'll take him 6th. And my number 7th player, he's not even on a team, but I'm still going to take him 7th. He's got the talent. It's Cody Bellinger. He had an outstanding comeback season last year in 2023. He hit 307. He had an OPS of 881, 26 homers, 150 hits. His on-base percentage was 356. I will be very happy if the Cubs don't re-sign him because he is a great baseball player. I'm so happy that he had a great bounce-back season. I expect him to regress a little bit. I don't think he's going to be as good this year as he was last season, but I think he'll put up pretty similar numbers. But yeah, I'll take him number 7. And hopefully he doesn't resign with the Cubs because Corbin Burns, breaking news, was traded to the Orioles, so it kind of opens up the division for the Cardinals. And yeah, I hope the Cubs don't get any better. Who you got with the 8th pick, Chris?
All right. I don't know what's going on with me and all these injury-plagued players, but I had him on my team one year, and he's just dynamite. And that was my first year in the farm league, and I ended up winning that. So I'm going back to that. I'm going with Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins. He was at Twins Fest the other day, and they gave him a full go at center field this year. And I like to hear that. So maybe he's getting fully healed, and I can see that going on. So maybe I'm drinking that Twins Kool-Aid, but I do remember those years where he's dominant force. I think he had like 14 home runs the first month, and he was just cranking. And he was stealing bases. I'm guessing those stolen bases are going to drop a little bit, but 8th pick, I'm going to take a gamble. I like the upside. That's what you got. If you want to win a league, who cares who got 2nd or 3rd? I want to win. So I go for that upside every time. If I can get 125 games, and that's not a whole lot, it might be for Byron Buxton, but for most players, it's not. I think 30 home runs, 15 stolen bases is pretty possible for him.
Yeah.
Did you have him last year or the year before or something?
I had him 2 years ago, and it seems like every season there's a month where he's just the best player in the whole game of baseball. He goes on absolute tear, and then, he slides into second base, and he comes up screaming, and, he gets hurt for most likely the rest of the season. So, he's just, like you said, he's like all these other players on this list. If they stay healthy, they have insane talent, but I think that's a good pick.
Yeah, so I'm just going to make sure I take an extra center field, another outfielder when I start picking my team, just in case. So maybe Sal Frelick might be a good pick to stash. I won't say it too loud. Hopefully nobody's listening. But all right, for my 9th and final pick of this draft, I'm going to take the Korean star, Jung-Hoo Lee. Who you say? No, it's H-O-O Lee. Hoo Lee of the San Francisco Giants. The former Rookie of the Year and MVP just signed a 6-year contract for $113 million with the Giants. He's only 25, but he's already had 7 seasons in Korea. So he must have came up as an 18-year-old. He has a lifetime 340 batting average, has more walks and strikeouts, which is kind of nice. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a Tony Gwynn and Ichiro. Gwynn never struck out. Ichiro was that slap hitter. But Ichiro could go deep when he wanted to. So hopefully he's a mixture of those guys. Not a lot of power, not a lot of stolen base, but his on-base skills are what you need. So he did miss last year. Last year he did get injured. He had a broken ankle, but I'm sure the Giants, I think they saw the X-rays and they're okay with him. If he's ready to go, I think it's not going to slow him down much. But the only thing I didn't like was him going to that big ballpark in San Francisco. That might hurt him a little bit, but if it's spacious, he can slap some singles in there, get some doubles. But I heard about him about a year ago coming into USA. So I drafted him in my 30-team league, and I'm happy with that. So
yeah,
I see big things for him.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, big ballpark, but it does got one thing going for him. If he can hit it into that dangerous triples alley, he could probably turn it into inside the Parker. I've seen quite a few at that stadium, so I like that pick. With the last pick, I'm gonna rank Cedric Mullins 10th. He had a down year in 2023, but I'll probably blame that mostly on the injuries. I love Cedric Mullins' game. And one thing that hurt him last year was the batting average. Most of his OPS and on base percentage stayed similar to years past, but his batting average dropped down to 233 when he's been mostly a 260s, 270s hitter. I think if he stays healthy in 2024 with this dangerous young Orioles team, who is, I think they're the favorites to win the AL now. They're pretty good favorites to win the World Series. So, I like Cedric Mullins kind of in the middle of this lineup. You can kind of expect him to bat 270, 15 homers, 30 steals, and yeah, I'll take him 10th. All right, that'll do it for our top 10 center fielders. We'll be back next week with our right fielder rankings. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Later.